pastor of Gather Together, Grow Together. We provide transportation, affordable transportation. All right, all right, all right, all right. Hit the horn, hit the horn, hit the horn. You know what time it is, y'all. It is my favorite. Well, not my favorite. I got so many favorites, so it can't be my favorite. It's one of my favorites, one of my favorite times of the year. It's time to usher in the new year. Yeah, hit the horn for that. Man, are you not excited? Are you not entertained? I am entertained. To the Coliseum, everyone. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Let's get it. That's what we do. That's how we do. Man, I'm so glad you can join me as we count down the end of 2023 and we go into 2024. And of course, what did I have to do? In my own grand spirit, I had to start 7 minutes late because I'm 7 minutes out, right? I'm 7 minutes out. That's what it is. It's never going to end. I'm always going to be 7 minutes out. Why do you ask? Am I always 7 minutes out? Well, I will tell you. Yes. It is a nice hat. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Um, it's a beautiful hat, and let me see if I can, just show the audience. I also, if you take a look back here, I happen to have the matching stocking. Okay, because priorities. That's what you got to do. I am 7 minutes out. So, yes, check out the stocking, check out the hat. It's all purple. This is what we do. This is what time it is. I hope that you came for a good time because I plan to be somewhat entertaining as we do our thing. Good evening, Mr. Dant. Good evening. Yeah, we're going to have a good time tonight. Looking forward to it. So I am in the studio. I did not mop my floors today at G2. You know that's how I like to bring in the new year. And my team has encouraged me to not do that. They didn't want me to, get into pain when I just got out of pain. And it was really hard to say, you know what? I will listen. I won't be stubborn. I won't be hard headed. You know, really? So over here in the peanut gallery, people are they're telling me that I am stubborn and hard headed. Look, I listened. I didn't do it. I'm here. I'm relaxed. I'm ready to go. Okay, I've got my water. I've got my death wish. And I also have my Red Bull. Now, you might say the coffee and the Red Bull is a death wish in and of itself, but it is what it is. This is how I maintain. Okay. So kids, don't try this at home. It's not a good idea, but that's why I try to balance it with a little bit of water, right? Mm, mm. Glad you're not stubborn. This is good for you. You know what? It is good for me. I am feeling good. I'm feeling great. You bet your sweet butt toot. Okay. All right. My door is locked. She has escaped. And a frowny face. You were able to put a frowny face on the. That's pretty cool. Huh. I like it. All right. So, one, I need people to understand, as usual, that you do not have to bring in the new year in the club. You don't have to bring in the new year with alcohol and drugs and all kinds of other things, right? You can bring in the new year in a clean way. Now, some people will go to church and bring in the new year that way, and that's all well and good, And so everyone has their traditions. Some people are at work, right? Because, hey, life goes on. It is what it is. But what we like to do over here is we like to go ahead and bring in the new year with a conversation. And our conversation is, let me get this camera right over here. Where am I at over here? The conversation, I'm sorry, I'm probably stressing you all out here, is about, 2023. What did we take away from 23? Did we achieve our goals? Did we have some failures? What were those failures? If you have spent any time listening to me, and many of you have, right? You know that I don't really believe in failure. I believe in either you win or you learn. And so we can say, what were our winnings and what were our learnings? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about that over the next hour and a half as we bring in the new year. And then we're going to project into 2024 and talk about what we want to do for 24. Now, as always, I encourage people to not let a date be the catalyst for you to try to do something else or enact a change in your life and do something different. You can do that any day of the year. And why that is so important is some people are like, you know what, I'll just wait until the 1st of January and I'll make this change and I'll do this thing. And unfortunately, that could be months, down the road. And it's like, no, just change now, right? 21 days, you can create a habit. And, that 21 days, as hard as it is, once you get through it, you're ready to go. So if we start now, by my birthday, you will have a good habit built in, right? So don't let the day be the thing that is the catalyst for change or for you to do something new, which is why I introduce our SMART goal exercise either a month or two before the new year. I want to try to encourage the folks around me to start working on their things early, right? Start doing it. So I'm gonna share a whole lot with you. I like sharing my experiences. I think it can be very helpful to share of yourself, your experiences, what worked for you, what didn't work, as it can be very helpful for other people as they are trying to navigate their situations uh, as such. So, man, it is already New Year's 2024 in other countries and definitely on the East Coast. So, salute to them. Happy New Year to them. Mm. Let me say right off the top, I was staffing a funeral yesterday. Rest in power to that mother. The church house was absolutely packed. A lot of people love this woman. She made a huge impact in this community, and it's hard to, um, lay someone to rest that means so much to you, especially during the holidays. So it's interesting. I was just sharing with a few people, my experience with losing my dad and my brother pretty close together. And matter of fact, I was showing Amanda the Facebook post of New Year's Eve from 2020, right? Or 2019 going into 2020. And that's what I was talking about. I was talking about, hey, it was a really hard year. I've gone through all these things and just talked about that and how difficult that year was. And so in that, when you're preparing and trying to get everything together uh, for a funeral to memorialize a loved one, you're a lot of it is you're about the business of getting it done. So you really don't have the time to grieve oftentimes, and that was my experience. There's just too much work to do. And so yesterday, where it's not my loved one, and being able to sit back and just see the people, grieving and pouring out their love and their stories, it was super emotional, man. That was super emotional, super emotional. And then we have one of our own, shout out to, brother Melvin, who just lost his mother, and he is on his way back to New Orleans to memorialize his mother. Um, and so we were able to give him a gift token to help him on his way while he is there. And so just to make that a little bit easier. So again, and he definitely loved his mother, told some really good stories about his mom. And so that was good. So, Melvin is in our thoughts and prayers earnestly. I hate that phrase, but he is as he travels back to New Orleans to be with family during this time. And so I do want to give my condolences to anyone who has recently lost a loved one during this time, or even for those who, the loved ones really had an impact during the holidays, right? For my dad, Christmas, it was a really big deal. He would come up with a menu that he would share out on Facebook, and people looked forward to his menu, right? His succulent and divine collard greens, and it's just this big extravaganza. And was telling Layla some stories about Grandpa, and him laying in front of the oven with a pillow and a blanket so his turkey didn't get dry. So he had to baste his turkey, and he didn't want it to get dry. And I think he was just, doing that for us kids, right? To really kind of get into the spirit. He always made us laugh and did silly things like that. So just kind of remembering, those good times and the joy. And we know that with my dad, he's no longer in pain, because he was in tremendous amount of pain, and he's in a better place now. So, again, condolences to everyone out there that is going through it. Uh, you are here, you are loved, you are seen. Uh, please be around people, talk to folks, and build community. And if you don't have that, it's a good time in 2024 to do just that, right? You don't have to be alone. This is a big world, and you may have been hurt by a lot of people in the past, and it may be very difficult for you to trust, and to build relationships because you've been burnt so many times, and you tried and tried and tried, and you're like, you know what? I'm done trying. I'm good. I'll just do it on my own. I'll be by myself, and I'll tell you, you can do that. But it is a lot more difficult to go it alone, and there's no reason for you to. There are people that are very like-minded and are here and ready for you to discover them and build some really good, lasting relationships that are positive, right? With whatever boundaries that you believe that you need to set so that you can have a viable relationship. But right now, let me just give it up. Applause for the purple, y'all. I'm just basking in the purple. I love my purple. I'm feeling my purple. You know what I'm saying? It makes me happy. It makes me smile. It's just the regal purple. Let me go ahead and take a sip of a Red Bull. Man, give me a hand clap if you love the purple. Please give me a hand clap. I just, the color is just awesome. They say it's regal, but there's just something that's just very, calming about the color. It's just beautiful. It's very, I feel like a statesman when I have my purple on. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff today. Oh man, I'm looking at some of my notes over here, and man, there's so many notes. So where to start this evening? Where to start? Well, maybe we should start with running for city council, because that was a really big thing, right? So, city council, whoo, what a roller coaster. Man, I ran for city council. What the HE double hockey sticks was I thinking? Well, I was thinking, you know what? I don't want to be an armchair quarterback. I want to be the change that I think that we need. And so, we can talk about it, we can complain, we can say this needs to be fixed, this needs to be changed. However, we know that change can take a while. And for many of us, we feel like, politics and politicians don't really have our best interest at heart, and don't listen to us, and definitely don't act on our behalf, right? And so we're looking at the state of the world, and things are very frustrating. Darn straight, darn tootin'. So it's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna run for city council. I have ideas. And one of the things that I did, one of the main reasons why I felt like I would be a good fit for city council was, I love my community. I love my city, right? I'm already doing the things. I've been doing things to help the city, to help the residents of this city and this county. And so I felt like I was a good fit, and I had some ideas. The other thing is that it wasn't that I was holding the ideas as a secret. I talked about the ideas of what I thought should happen in this city from before running for city council, right? So it wasn't a thing of, hey, you know what? If you elect me, I will start doing things, right? It's, hey, I'm already doing the things. I want to do more things. I want to use my voice to elevate your interest and do some things that are radical. And I think that we do need some radical changes here to fix our community, right? The writing is on the wall. We can definitely look at some of the bigger cities and see what they're going through, and we know what's coming. So we can watch, and we're just crabs in a pot, right? Crabs in a, what does it say, frogs in a boiling pot. We're not jumping out. We're just slowly coming to boil. And so we have to take action, and we're going to need people that start pulling the rest of city council, pull the mayor, drag them into the light, so to speak, right? And not make these little small incremental changes that really doesn't do enough, right? We're building all this new housing, and that's fantastic, but it's not enough stock, not enough housing stock, and it's not affordable, right? And then we also have to address jobs, right? So there's all these things that are symbiotic. You can't just do one thing. It's like whack-a-mole. Okay, well, we'll build some more units. Well, is there going to be jobs at a livable wage that people are going to be able to work so they can pay the rent, right? Are the business owners going to be able to actually pay their employees, right? Or are they going to go under because they can't keep up with the minimum wages, right? So you have to address all these things at the same time. I digress. All that to say, hey, I'm going to run for city council. Now, I did not win city council. I was darn close, darn tootin' for Newton. Let me see, I can bring it up here and just see. Let's see if I can still access that. Oh, good Lord, I have so many texts. Stephanie had my phone the other day, and she said I had 110 unread texts. So if I have supposed to have gotten back to you, I apologize. I have just been insanely busy. You know, I like to say that it's not my fault, but it is what it is. It is my fault. I got to take accountability for that. But it has just been, it's a lot, man. I'm doing all the things. Oh, look at this. I'm going to send this text to Shaylin. She sent me a text on November 17th, and I'm sending her a text today on December 31st. Well, Shaylin, I actually responded to you. I forgot to hit send. I apologize. And I saw her yesterday. So shout out to Shaylin and Zariah. All right, let's see. How much did I lose by here? Oh, here we go. Apparently your texts are 7 minutes out. No, I'm fast. Well, that's way more than 7 minutes, like 7 months. So the final tally was 368 votes for Jane Rebelowski. Shout out to Jane. I'll give her a horn. And 315 votes for me. So I lost by 53 votes. That was the difference in that election, right? So what was the takeaway from this? One, anyone can run for city council. So I encourage you to run for city council, right? They change districts every year. Rhonda says Happy New Year. Tell her I said Happy New Year. Hit the horn for her. She's on speakerphone and can hear me. Happy New Year's to you. You can run. Doesn't take a whole lot to run. And I mean, when I say it doesn't take a whole lot, it really takes nothing. If you remember, I talked about, trying to figure it out, setting up an email, setting up a website. I didn't have a campaign manager. Oh man, I was a hot mess. And it was a hot mess all the way through for a whole lot of reasons. But you can do it, right? And you go and you talk to the people and you do the things, and you got your yard signs and you get folks together. But if I'm not mistaken, this is a down ballot year. What that means is typically more voters come out when the president is on the ballot, right? When that election is coming up. I believe there were more votes in this off year than there was during the presidential election for the city council seat, if I'm not mistaken. So what that says to me is that people came out, more people came out, right? We had Zariah, shout out to her. It was her first time voting as she turned 18. So that was powerful. And so what that meant was, one, people were getting involved, right? People that weren't involved before, either because they came of age, either because there was something that was going on that was really important to them. And they were like, you know what? I got to vote for Jane, is super important, or I got to vote for Marwan, is super important. So to see a 53-point difference, a 53 vote difference, that's pretty close. That could have went either way, right? Do more door knocking, getting out the vote, doing those things. So the next person who runs, whether it's District 3 or 1 or 7 or whichever ones come up next year, definitely get out there and get the door knocking and talking to people and have your agenda set, and that's important. And that's what needs to happen, right? If we really want to have some change, we're going to have some really radical change. We need, shout out to Mark, tipping points and puzzle pieces. He says a evolution because he doesn't like the word revolution because it just means you're going in a circle. But we're intellectually honest here and we understand what we mean by revolution, right? We need a radical change. We have to do some things different. It's not going to do any good in my eyes to do universal basic income, right? And give everyone $2,000 and we still are dealing with inflation, so it still can't keep up. And where's this $2,000 coming from anyway, right? So there are some things that we have to do from the top to really make a change. And I've talked about that at nausea, so I'm not going to do that tonight because I'm not campaigning tonight, right? But that was super important. I've never done that before. I didn't run for office in junior high. Well, I didn't really go to high school, so didn't have that experience. So I didn't know what that was like, right? At all. So I encourage you to run. That was important. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about, was doing that. The second thing, what else was impactful? Well, the porta potties, the ordinance downtown. That was really big. And of course, I'm not going to spend too much time here because that was a really big deal up until through the summer into the election. And we're going to still be dealing with that, right? And you'll be hearing me talk about the mayor's proposal and the nonprofits proposal from KCR and Bremerton Housing Authority and their ideas and their the kind of the dueling options and where this thing is supposed to be situated and what are the permanent solutions, right? How are we really going to address this? But the porta potties were really important. And when I do things, I try to look at things from a negotiation standpoint. So shout out to OC, used to teach there. And one of the classes that I taught was negotiations. And in negotiations, you have your interest and you have the other party's interest, right? And people tend to look at things as a win lose situation. I win, you lose. You win, I lose. Where you really win is, one, there's going to be compromise, of course, but when both sides win. And in order to do that, you have to look at the interest of all parties. And so what I did is I looked at the fact that, one, people need dignity to do the most private thing multiple times a day, which is to use the restroom. No one should have to use the restroom out in public. Number one or number two. How humiliating. So folks need to have dignity. So that is from the unhoused standpoint, right? From the renters, the homeowners, and the businesses, right? There's a community center there that have youth and children. They don't need to see people using the restroom, right? That can be very traumatizing and very inappropriate for people to see. From a community standpoint, you have urine and feces going down our city drains, right? And I think I estimated that out. Shout out to Jim Adrian. Had me look up some research on how much waste a human produces per day. And with 80 to 100 people down there on ML King and Broadway, like 80 pounds of feces per day, somewhere around there. I sent an email to the mayor with the data on that. And so when you look at 80 pounds over the course of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, that's a lot going down our storm drains, right? We don't want that. We don't need that. So porta potties is a short term win win for everyone. And it was a low cost. So at the end of the day, as many of you know, G2 had the account for the porta potties, and we had no major incidents, right? People were saying, oh, it was going to burn down. There was going to be assaults. There's going to be all these things. They were going to be destroyed. Those porta potties are still in my backyard. So, and they're working just fine. Right. And so people were able to use those porta potties. And as soon as Salvation Army opened, we pulled the porta potties off the block. So that is proof positive, a successful win win for all parties involved. Right. No, we could not solve homelessness. We couldn't get all the folks off the street and into housing. That would have been the ultimate win-win. But we have to work with what we can, right? And we have to find ways to say yes, right? We always think of no, we can't. No, that's wrong. No, we've never done that before. That's not how this is done. And I'm all for some things being traditional for sure. But, there are times when we need to modify and try something else, right? We try it. If it doesn't work, we try something else. Now, I do encourage to measure twice and cut once. We're not just haphazardly just trying whatever and just saying, hey, let's just throw a whole bunch of stuff on the wall and see what sticks. That's not how we were moving, right? We were moving with intention, with the plan. And you know what? That plan worked. And how did we need to modify it? Well, we were setting those porta potties up to be changed twice a week. That wasn't enough. Those porta potties had to be changed every other day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those porta potties were getting filled up. Filled. 2 porta potties filled up, almost overflowing. So imagine all that urine and all those feces out on our city streets, right? If you didn't know, there are rats down on MO King, right? That was another issue that happens when you have a congregant of unhoused people. So to us, that was a win-win. And so we look at it in that way. And while we're advocating for the unhoused, we are also keeping in mind, although we are focused on the unhoused, right? We are cognizant of the impact of, fentanyl smell and, drugs and needles and things of that nature. And just, the the impact on folks feeling safe, the impact on property values. Those things are important. And while you could say, well, you know what, we should be more concerned about the people, it's all well and good until it's in front of your house. And so you have to be empathetic and sympathetic on all sides of the situation. And if you move in that way, you're likely to find a situation where there's compromise for everyone. There's no perfect solution, but we're not having analysis paralysis where we just talk and argue and we don't do anything, and we try something and we learn from our mistakes. For me, I'm very much a person, and this is one of my gripes with city council as it currently stands, is they look around to see what other people have done. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, right? If you don't have to reinvent the wheel, don't. I think they lean too heavily on looking around and then saying, "Hey, our sister city does this, so we're going to adopt that," right? Instead of saying, "You know what? We're on a peninsula. We've got a naval base here, right? The biggest employer. We have a ferry to Seattle, one of the biggest metropolitan cities in our country, right? So we have some very unique situations that our sister cities aren't going to have as the same, right? And so we have to be the champions. We have to be the firebrand, the ones that go down and they cut the sticker bushes. We got to do something regardless. We can't not do anything, right? And we cannot not provide something in fear of more people coming, right? We need to try to control for those variables, but we have to do something, right? And so I just encourage, folks to push on their city council folks to get them to do something, right? Uh, and hopefully the answer is there. People came up with a lot of good answers. Folks are like, well, how come you don't use the hospital? You can't use Harrison. And I was just joking with one of the preachers. It was like, hey, I remember getting uh, COVID shots at Harrison, right? That's how recently Harrison was open. Oh, okay. Well, there's asbestos and the building has been closed for a long time, and so folks can't be in there. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I was going in there less than 5 years ago at the time, right? Maybe six, to get shots for migraines and using the emergency room for various services. And it's like, so it's really not that safe now. Hmm. And or it's worse off than being out in the elements in the severe heat or the severe cold, or just okay, it doesn't really make sense. And then through conversations, it was like, well, okay, if we're talking about making a makeshift shelter, why not use the parking garage? That's outside, right? You've got a structure that's somewhat enclosed. You could put tarps on the side if you want them to be see through so you can kind of see in. You could do that, or they could be the heavy blue tarps so you don't see. If that's a problem, you have the parking lot at Harrison Hospital, and no one brought up any of those ideas, right? But through that discussion with that minister, you know, it just popped in my mind. It was like, well, why not try that? Right. And so the solution is going to come from us, come and talk, have the conversation, definitely state what's important to you and why. But if we can do it in a non adversarial way, we're more likely to come up with a solution because we've got to do something. And it's going to take all of us, right? I think some folks were willing to chip in money to have a shelter that wasn't in their district. Okay, that's great. If you have the money to help to chip in for that, and this district has the manpower to do some of the work, the volunteer work, and this one over here has this is where the structure is going to be, or we're going to rotate it. There's all kinds of different things that we can do, right? That's what we can do. We've got a military, we've got a college, right? We need vocational skills for a lot of our folks, right? And not just for folks that are unhoused now, however you think they got to that situation, right? We've got, folks graduating from high school every year, folks dropping out of high school every year, 18 to 25-year-olds that are having a failure to launch because of COVID, right? We still haven't seen the impact on our kids coming through COVID and what that's going to be like, right? So they're going to need some supports that we didn't have to go through when we were transitioning out, right? We had our own challenges, but we didn't have COVID. So what are we going to do to try to really slow this down and hopefully reverse this, right? So our Bremerton citizens are not suffering that, right? We don't want our children to do worse than us. So that was a big one. And to think, that started the year previous of having the pancake breakfast once a month out at New Horizon Ministries church, right? And so folks would come in and we had a big group discussion, and a lot of folks came in and we advocated for the porta potties, and we got city council to earmark the $10,000 for those porta potties. Kind of sat there for a year and we had to fight. And then, we got there and we had to jump in and just kind of take the reins on that and just say, hold my beer, so to speak, hold my beer, hold my agua. And we just did the thing. And you know what? It worked. Hey, hit the horn. Hit the horn for Rock the Block. Hit the horn for Salvation Army. Hit the horn for Kit Kat Rescue Mission. Oh man, they got some news that I got yesterday from someone who works at the rescue mission. I can't share it, but it was awesome news. And once I talk to their ED and get permission to share it, I will share that information because I was excited to hear that. Very, very glad to hear that news. So excited. Okay, I can hear the gunshots out there. Feel bad for your pets. Love on your pets tonight. I know that can be stressful for the people and the pets. I don't have those, so I don't really worry about that. But it is what it is. I understand. Oh man. So speaking of, that's one of the big things that G2 was able to do this year was get those porta potties down there. and also to provide meals every other Monday, sometimes every Monday, if you think about us bringing our grills and propane and all that stuff. So, shout out to all of those organizations and individuals. I can't name them all because that would definitely leave them out. But you've seen some of the pictures of just everyday citizens coming down and trying to make a difference down there. So, shout out to all of you. Applause. That's a testament to what can be done if we roll up our sleeves and say we're going to work together and make this happen. So, shout out, shout out, shout out. Some other things that G2 has done this year that's really exciting is, our transportation to medical detox. These centers are outside of the county, pretty far away. We're talking about Oak Harbor, we're talking about Longview, right? So imagine, you know, if you had COVID and COVID just really hit you super bad, or you had shingles and it was really bad, or you really got a really bad case of the flu or pneumonia. This is the closest way that I know to, um, compare it, right? So imagine you're having that and you're going through these withdrawals and you decide, you know what, I'm done. I want to get clean. I want to go to medical detox and, you know, just quit this life. And now you're in this vehicle and you're riding for a few hours, right? And you got a fever, you got the chills, and you feel sick and you feel like you're gonna die. We have folks that lose their bowels on their way, right? And then you gotta wait for intake, and then you gotta go through all the things, and just knowing what you have to go through while you're actually going through the pain takes a tremendous amount of strength. And so we're super excited to have been able to provide that service this year, which I don't think we've done in the past. And if we have, it's been a one off at best. But this has been a very steady thing for us this year in 2023. I'm so proud of our drivers and our staff and the sacrifice that they have made to make that happen, and the things that they've had to go through to ensure that the person got to where they needed to go, and then advocate on their behalf when messaging and communication wires got mixed up. So shout out to all of those drivers, and not just the ones on the ride, right? Because when a driver's out and they're gone, right, the rest of the team has to hold it down, right? And so that's how a good team works, right? If whether someone's out because they're not doing well, or they're out and they're doing something else, the other team steps up and makes sure that things are running, right? And things are getting done. It's not always going to be smooth, but it gets done. Get her done. So that was a big one for us this year for G2 is the medical detox. Another one is increasing our relationships with some new partners, right? Shout out to Melina. Shout out to Virginia Mason. And so being able to transport via for cancer patients or folks going through, what is that called? I always forget what that is called. Uh, if you guys are listening in the chat, put that in the chat for me because, I never remember. What is that called? Um, uh, Man, what is that called when you have to go through it all the time? Hey there, Don. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. But we're able to provide that, right? So folks to get their cancer treatments, dialysis. Thank you. I just could not call that. We actually took someone to dialysis today, and surprised to hear that it's open on a Sunday on New Year's Eve, right? But they have to get their medical services. And so that's a new thing that G2 has been doing this year with our new partnership with Virginia Mason. So shout out to them. And it's awesome to be able to provide that service. We're already transporting employees to the new Chipotle on Bremerton on Wheaton Way. Shout out to the new Chipotle. I'm not a Chipotle fan, but I am a fan of new employers in the area. So shout out to that. And that's really important. So again, we have increased, and I will talk about that. Oh, I might actually talk about that tonight while I'm lying. Uh, we say, well, I'm telling the truth while I'm lying. Well, I might talk about that tonight and talk about some of the numbers. We have definitely increased our rides to take folks to work, folks that are working, graveyard shift, folks that are working in areas where there's no public transportation to them, for them, folks that need this service, right? And could not afford it if they were using a regular cab or an Uber. So shout out to all the clients that we've been able to help them in their own resiliency and to be able to, pay their bills and maintain. Right now, I actually would be just returning from my ride, right? But Rob and Stephanie did that ride tonight so that I can do that because she had to be at work for her graveyard shift, right? There's no bus running right now. So how does she get to work? She doesn't drive, doesn't have a license, isn't going to get it, elderly, uses a cane. So there is such a need for transportation here in this area. And so being small, Kitsap Transit is the Titanic. We're just a little dinghy that can pivot and do what we got to do, right? We, a big gain for us this year is our second wheelchair van. Shout out to the wheelchair van. So that allows us to do a lot more business. Man, we've got an aging community here. And in that, we've got a lot of folks that have to get to doctor's appointments. They need to get to specialist appointments. We have folks that want to get out of their house, right? They've already been trapped by COVID. They're already restricted because they're wheelchair users. And so to be able to get out and do some of that independence things, like do some shopping, run some errands, get to their doctor's appointments, not delay their health is so important. So shout out to them. We do a lot of business in Bainbridge Island. We take a lot of folks to Seattle, to specialists in Gig Harbor and Pierce County. Uh, one of our drivers, shout out to Amanda. Let me give her a horn. Shout out to Amanda. She told me yesterday that an employee at KMH told her that G2 doesn't leave the county or can't leave the county. It's like our vehicles don't have some geo fencing on it where the car shuts down as soon as it hits the county line. So that is just so funny. Yes, Don, you are absolutely right. I just told Rob, I looked at the forecast and I do love you, Don, but you are not supposed to say the S word. We don't like the S word. We stand ready to go. Last year, we did not shut down not one day last year during the crazy snow and the ice. Folks needed to get to work. We had folks that needed to get to the severe weather shelter. We had volunteers that had to get to the severe weather shelter in order to open them. We had folks, employees that had to get to Kitsap Mental Health. And so we were ready to go and we were able to do it. We had no accidents. Everyone was transported safely. We have some of the safest drivers in the county. Shout out to all of our drivers. They come from Michigan, New York, and other places where, hey, driving in these conditions is something that you got to do. Now, me, on the other hand, I don't drive in the snow. If it gets a little too cold, I just hand the keys over. I'm gonna put my pinky up because I may have gotten into a few accidents in the snow. So now I am afraid to drive in the snow. So I understand my limitations and I just stay on the road and I leave the driving to one of my staff members, right? So know your limits and just, give it up to someone else. It's okay. Mm. And on that, times are hard, right? Times are hard. People are stressed out. Folks are wound up pretty tight. Road rage is we had an incident right here in what was that, Gorst, I think, where someone shot someone in a rage incident. Please, please, please. 2023 is coming to an end. 2024 is likely to be volatile or even more volatile when we think about the presidential election that's coming. Be patient, extend grace, leave early, set your clock 15 minutes ahead. Don't even deal with the 5-minute alarm clock. Do 15. When you get on the road, someone cuts you off, understand there's whatever was going on in their mind. Yes, they were being oblivious. Maybe they did it intentionally, maybe they didn't. If it doesn't cause an accident and you're safe, gather yourself, breathe, count, and just say, thank God there was no accident. Let them go off and do what they're going to do and just relax. Don't carry that on you. We have to find ways to drop the stress off of us in 2024, not add it on. And all these little things throughout the day, just add it. You wake up and the dog done did something while you were asleep, added that stress, right? Go to make your breakfast, you out of milk. Oh, there's a problem. Kids giving you hell in the morning, right? You got all these little chips and you just woke up. Oh, you woke up, man, this is hurting, that's hurting. I don't even want to go to work and deal with this. You already have all these things. You get in the car, you're out of coffee, or you're out of creamer. Now you're in, you're going, and yeah, undoubtedly something happens, and now you're upset. And I watch people carry that anger, that anxiety, that frustration with them. And it's hours after. And so your locus of control, that should be the word. Locus of control for 2024. Locus of control. Let me type that in the chat. Are you in control of your ship? The ship being your life? Or is the ship being controlled by all the conditions around it? Yes, the seas are choppy. Yes, the weather's bad. Yes, it's shark infested. Yes, there's other ships out there that mean you harm. But are you in control? Are you steering your ship? Are you making sure that you have a strong sail? Are you making sure that your oars are nice and powerful? Are you making sure that your engine is kept up? Are you making sure that the crew that you have is a crew that you can trust? Are there some crew members that you need to let go of so that you have a strong crew, so that you can weather the weather, if you will? You see what I did there? Dad jokes. I'll be here all night. Well, at least for another hour. We got about 35 minutes before the new year, y'all. Your crew is important. And you're not looking for a fair weather crew. It's all good when the seas are calm, beautiful sunsets, beautiful sunrises. You got the wind to your back. You don't even have to row. You're just sailing. You see dolphins, not sharks. All the other boats are party boats. Y'all are having a good time. It's all great then. Your crew is fantastic. It's a party, right? It's a buffet, plenty of food, song and wine. Everything's great. But when it gets choppy and folks start getting frustrated and start fighting each other, I don't want to do this. This ain't my job. You ain't my boss. You ain't my dad. You ain't my mother, right? Then we start attacking each other, right? We didn't store up the nuts like a squirrel, pause, so that we could be ready for the rainy day, for the bad storm. All right, we got our food is ready. We got an extra sail. We got the other oars. We're ready to go. We got our plan in place. We got our contingency plan. This is what we're going to do. We got our map. We know how to alter our route, the route of our life, so that we can navigate and get to our destination. Yes, it might take longer. We may have a setback, but we are still moving forward. And through the adversity, those experiences are going to strengthen us and build us, because we're not going through blindly without direction and without a plan and without a team. It's time to build your team in 2024 if you haven't. It's time for addition by subtraction if that's what you need to do. You might need to drop some people off your team to strengthen your team. You may need to be introspective and say, hey, I'm down on myself. I can't do this. But you have KSAs that you're not aware of. You have knowledge, skills, and abilities that you need to tap into. You have these things. You have all these tools in this tool belt that you have gained over your lifetime. And when you think about a cover letter or a resume, some of the things we talk about is we look for transferable skills. What's a transferable skill? It's a skill that you learned for this situation that can apply over here. And you have so many of those. And sometimes you just need to stop and say, hey, what can I do? What do I do well? And how can that translate over here to help me to get to where I'm going? I hope you take some time to do that as you hopefully reflect tomorrow when you get some quiet time on what 24 is going to look like for you. What are you going to be trying to work on? Yeah, not even trying. What are you going to be working on? Hit the horn. You ain't trying, you're doing. What will you be working on for 2024? Who are you going to do it with? How are you going to get there? What's your plan? Did you write your plan down? Do you check in on your plan? Do you got your journal on the side of your bed? All right. This is what I did today. Man, I had a busy day. I had to go to work. I had an event for the kids. I had to make dinner. I had to make breakfast. I had to go run these errands. I had a doctor's appointment, but I still took out 20 minutes to, if nothing else, check in on my plan. All right. Can't really do much today. Maybe I can just read a little bit and gain a little bit of knowledge. That's what I'm doing today. And log that. Log it. Because sometimes we're thinking about how busy our life is. We're like, man, I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to have free time to get to this destination, to work on this plan, to get this goal going. You just do a little bit. Read. Gain knowledge. Through knowledge, you gain abilities. Through knowledge, you gain skills. Through knowledge, you gain proficiency. Some of that knowledge may be, you know what? I need some time management skills so I can do some more things. I need to do some analysis in my life and say, hey, what are needs versus wants in my life? What am I willing to let go? What isn't really a priority? See, we're doing that here at G2 also. Both not only as an organization, but as individuals. At least some of us, right? I have a whole bunch of ghost charges. You sign up for something, it's a 7-day trial, it's a 3-day trial, it's a 30-day trial. They know you're going to forget. I see this Apple charge $9.99 every month. It's got to be one of the various things. The Kids App Son just charged me, I don't know, Stephanie might still be listening in. It was a crazy amount. I thought it was $1 a month. It's like, no, that's the 6-month introductory. Then it's $10 a month or whatever it is. And I'm like, I had no intention on paying more than $1 a month. Now, I was always asking myself, I'm like, how does the Kids App Son, $11.99, thank you, Stephanie. I had no intention on paying $11.99 for the Kids App Son every single month, right? That is 12 times 12. That's $144. So there's all of these phantom charges. And when you look at it, I probably have close to $500 to $700 in phantom charges. I hope it's not that much. I might be exaggerating a little bit. $250 to $400, right? And that could be pretty easy, pretty quick. And I'm talking about possibly per month, not yearly, because 12 times 12 is 144. I'm talking about I might have 200, 250 to about 400 every month of charges that are just these phantom charges. Might be a gym membership that you're not using. Might belong to this, wine of the month. You don't really care. You're over it. It sounded good when it happened, right? Someone gave you a gift and then the charge kicks on to you later on. It's like, well, this really wasn't a gift, but it does keep on taking. The gift that keeps on taking. I don't want that gift. So do some analysis there. You will find there's a pot of money that you have been wasting, right? What could that $12 go to? Are you spending that on Starbucks? What's the other place out there? Dutch Brothers or any of your other favorite coffee houses? What habit have you built in to where that's what you're getting every day? And your premium coffee is $10, $8. Maybe you're going more than once. And if you're going every single day, woo, man, do I got where's my TI calculator here? Okay, for those of you college students, right? You get your TI calculator, your high school students. Okay, even at 50 years old, I use this thing all the time. Don't get rid of your graphing calculator, folks. It's an awesome device. Okay, I know. You got your smartphone and everything else. I guess I'm getting old, right? I'm like, oh, look at your TI calculator. That's funny. That tickles me. But again, what are you paying on that premium coffee? Let's put in there. Let's say it's or you giving a tip? Maybe it's $11, right? So we got $11. You're doing it 6 days a week, let's say. Some people got to have their coffee every day. Well, that's $66 a week, right? Where my camera at? That's $66 a week. Well, we're doing that pretty much every week. Well, there's 52 weeks in a year. You have spent $3,432 because you got one coffee every day, 6 days a week. $3,500. That's a used car, by the way. If there's two people, double it. Right? We're talking about thousands of dollars in just coffee. It could be shoes, cigarettes, alcohol, marijuana, purses, makeup, Uber Eats. Oh my goodness, y'all. What are y'all spending on Uber Eats? Not only are you not buying the groceries, which your dollar would go further, but you're paying the delivery charge because I'm too busy. I get it. I'm too busy. That's why I started, I don't want to endorse HelloFresh. And I will tell you, I started with HelloFresh because I wanted to eat healthier, right? I didn't want to, continue to eat like a college student and put my fish sticks in the oven, right? Which from time to time, Layla and I do like our fish sticks. But I wanted to get my vegetables, get my fruits, eat healthier. Well, how was I going to do that? Right? I don't cook. I don't like cooking. I do not like it. Well, I can cook. I don't like it. It's not fun. It's not cathartic. It's not joyful. I don't care about the flavors and how things mix together. It's a pain. It's time consuming. You spend an hour to make this meal because I'm slow. You eat it, and then you got to do it again for lunch and dinner. I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. It gives me emotional damage, okay? But HelloFresh was a way to eat healthier. The food came in a bag, paper bag, with the instructions and pictures. I can do that all day long. Well, once I've done it for a while, they give you the cards. So now I've got a recipe book. All I need to do is get a 3-ring binder, punch holes in it, and I've got my favorite recipes. I got the ones I don't like. I got the ones that I do like. And that's what I did, right? I got a injection last Friday. And shout out to Rob, Stephanie, and Amanda. All went grocery shopping. And they didn't have to buy. I didn't order HelloFresh because that can kind of be expensive. I just got the ingredients from the stuff that was on there. And now I can even make different portions. I can make enough so that I have leftovers, right? So you don't have to be so rigid in what you do, where it's like, I've got to follow this to the letter. Although I will say for some people, that kind of, I want to say institutionalized mindset, I was talking about that the other day, does work well for a lot of people, right? Very rigid. I've got a bedtime. I get up. I do this. I do that. I do this. And as long as I stay on this rigid path, I'm good. As soon as I get off this path, my life becomes chaos. Understand if that works for you, Use that to your advantage. Some people can't operate under that level of rigor, but that you might thrive in that condition. So use it. But if you don't, then find another way. Look at things and say, hey, all right, I've got HelloFresh. I don't have to continue spending $90 a week or whatever I was spending, right? And that wasn't for every meal. I still was needing breakfast and lunch and snacks and things like that. Don't be afraid to modify and make things fit for your goal. Think outside the box, expand, combine different things together and make something that works for you. Because there's something that's out there. It's not going to be perfect, but you can modify it and you can change it. And when it works, oh man, one of those big ones was coffee. I was a big coffee, cream, and sugar person. And the sugar's bad for you. The creamer's bad for you because I like the vanilla creamer, 30 calories per teaspoon or tablespoon. And so when you measure it out, and you're consuming a crap ton of calories in a cup of coffee. And if you drink a pot and a half like me, it's like, man, you're consuming your caloric, 2,000 calories a day, damn near, in just drinking the coffee. That's insane, right? You're approaching 700 calories or something like that in just coffee. That's stupid. You're going to have to fix that. You're going to have to modify it. Well, I had to train myself to say, you know what? The creamer, you're going to pick one. Either you're going to use sugar or you're going to use creamer. Not going to use both. I had to learn how to drink my coffee with a creamer. Cool. Now, I also stopped drinking coffee at least twice a year for a little while, and I'll switch to tea. And with tea, well, I don't really like tea unless it's sweet. So what are you going to use? You're going to use some honey, and I actually like stevia. It tastes a little kind of weird, but it's not sugar. A healthier option. It gives me a break from pounding Red Bulls and coffee at the same time. Right? That's horrible, by the way. Again, I shouldn't even show that stuff on camera. I'm embarrassed. I'm very embarrassed. I'm embarrassed, but I do sip. Do as I say, not as I do. Yes, I'm being a hypocrite. All right, y'all. We got 20 minutes before the new year comes in. Let's hit the horn. Keep that energy up. 2023 is coming to an end. Woo! Oh, man. 2024 is coming. What we gonna do? What we gonna do? We got the power. We got the control. If we don't, we're gonna take it. Man, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for all of you to see what you're gonna do this year coming up. Because, man, you can set your mind to it. And there are things in your life that you have set your mind to it. I don't do that. I'm not doing that. And you are fast and strong on those things. Look at that in your life, that you're like, you know what? Hell to the no, no, no. And apply that to something that you're trying to change in your life. Because you do have the power to say no, not even a little bit, buddy, not even a little bit. And apply that. That's transferable skills. Find that thing that you say yes to, like, oh man, yeah, I'm doing that. That's got to happen. If I don't get my game of Madden in, things ain't going to be right. And if that's what you value, then that's what you value. Don't be ashamed to value what you value in 2024. If your outlet is video games, man, enjoy your video games. All things in moderation, right? Enjoy it. Don't be embarrassed about it. Don't let people shame you. If you like Marvel and DC, go ahead, enjoy it. Talk about it. Have conversations. Go to the movies. Get your collectibles. Right? That's your joy. That's your peace. That's your serenity. Don't worry about what other people think of you. Because you know what? Those folks don't pay your rent. They ain't helping you with your kids. They ain't taking care of you when you're sick. So who cares what they think? 2024. We don't care what they think. 2024, we don't care what they think. 2024, we don't care what they think. We gonna do the thing even if they breath stink. What? Hey, 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 hey. That's the attitude. That's the attitude that I want you to have. Who cares? It doesn't matter. They literally have no impact on your life. All it is opinion. And opinions are like, oh, I won't say that. This is a family show. But y'all know, right? So lean into it. Enjoy it. Again, all things in moderation. Let it be a part of your life, not your life. Now, if you're making a living off of it, that's a whole nother thing, right? But you have to have these healthy outlets. Healthy outlets, right? And understand what your goals are. Tell people all the time. If you think you're wandering, look down. There's a piece of paper that you wrote. And that paper says, am I doing my purpose right now? And if you're not, immediately stop what you're doing and get on your purpose. Hey, y'all, I'm going to get up out of here. It's been fun. I'll see y'all next time. But I got to go. Oh, man, where you going? I got to go home. I got to go take care of some things. Oh, man, why you leaving this early? Don't even worry about that. Leave. Go. You ever notice sometimes, like this, I'm really bad about this, right? It's really hard for me to hop up and go somewhere. I want to be there and honor the person or the event, even when I've got other places that I need to be. And for them, it was important that I came and they saw me and I supported, but it wasn't required of them for me to stay. But I'm like, man, I want to stay for the whole thing, so I'm staying. But then when it's kind of the flip side, if they even come, they come in and they're there for a second, or you're watching some other folks, they just came in and they gone, and you're like, oh man, it happens with conversations too. They come in and they just walk off, or break the conversation off or whatever, and you're stuck in this conversation that you can't get out of, right? I get caught with that all the time, right? It's okay. Break it off. Excuse yourself and go do what you got to do. Get back on your purpose. Get back on your purpose. All right, we got 14 minutes to the countdown. We're almost there. Hit the horn. Woo, 2024 is on its way, y'all. We're going to have a purple year coming up. That is my hope for you all, that you have a purple 2024. I know I intend to. Let's see if we could talk about a few other things. Well, let me talk about my little one. My little one, she's doing so many different things this year. She's got her gymnastics. Of course, you see me posting, that on Facebook. She got second place in her last event. She's got another one coming up here the first week of January. She's got another cello recital. She auditioned for the Kitsap Youth Philharmonic and made it. So she's a celloist for that. And her next concert will be on Super Bowl Sunday. Don't know why they would put that on Super Bowl Sunday, but Dad will be there. She tried track and field and basketball and just all the things. And my preteen is going to be a teenager in 2024. And well, man, remember I told you to let that stress come off you. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You don't have any creamer. You burn your tongue on your food. Well, having a preteen turn into a teenager is enough, right? I don't need anything else but that coming up. So, woo, boy, we in for it. It's coming. It's coming quick. But she's doing great. Fantastic young lady, getting older and taller and smarter every day. So tremendously proud of Layla. Just love watching her grow and thrive and just be herself. And I was just talking with Amanda earlier today about how difficult it is to see what that line is of allowing Layla to be a kid, but also introducing her and having those hard conversations about society and the world, right? Trying to prepare her for disappointment and realities. And I am of the thought right now, I lean more in the camp of, you know what, she's a child. I didn't have much of a childhood. Let her enjoy her youth as much as she can and thrive, right? And be there to support. So the rails, don't get too crazy. Um, but just let her enjoy her youth. Yeah, I think many of us remember when we were young and we couldn't wait to get out of our parents' homes and be out on our own. It's like, man, I can't wait to get up out of here. I ain't never coming back, man. I'm gonna show y'all. And then you get out there and it's like, oh man, I got to buy toothpaste and deodorant and toilet paper, and I got to pay water, garbage, and sewer insurance. It's like it's a shock, right? When you get out there and you go on your own, and it's like, oh, they were paying for all this stuff, and now it's on me. It's like, oh, damn, you get that respect on the other side. And most of us are so stubborn, we don't go back to our parents and be like, you were right, you were right, you know. Um, that those are things that I do intend to share with her. I think we do our kids a disservice if we don't share the financial burdens. Not that she takes on the burden, have her worried, like, oh, are we going to be able to keep the lights on? But understanding the value of a dollar, understanding that things cost, that, kids have that I want, right? I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And what that means, right? Even with food and snacks and candy and just all the things, right? And so when you share that, your kids are so intelligent. They can understand and they can comprehend, wow, okay, this is how much you make. This is what taxes are, right? This is where the money's going. This is what's left over. This is you sacrificing for me to have that bicycle, or for me to have the new Madden, or for me to have to go on that trip, or for me to play that sport. Your kids can handle that. I believe that. And so having those conversations, it's not they get into their adult world or they go off to college and then they get hit with those credit card oh boy, I got to watch my language. It's a family show. Predators, and they run up, these 17 to 18-year-olds credit card debt right off the bat, right? Because they've got all this freedom and they're free willing. And they don't understand compound interest and all those things. And they're not prepared. So, should they be working now and earning money? Should they be putting money away? Should they understand what stock market is, right? Are they going to diversify their portfolios? Do you have conversations about that? We already say, oh, Gen X might not have Social Security the way that it's going, right? So there's already so many generations behind us. What are they going to do? We're already saying that the housing isn't affordable for them. The wages haven't kept up. So they can't graduate from high school and then it's like, ta-da, welcome to hell. Good luck, you know? And so there's this fine line that is so difficult. Kids are going through it. They come through COVID. They're dealing with social issues. They feel the same, push on inflation and what the parents can do, whether they talk about it or not. They're feeling it, right? They're seeing it some way or another. So I think it's better to prepare them and show them, educate them so that they have an understanding, right? You might want to be this or be that, but you do have to look at, hey, is this a green job? Is this sector going to grow? Is AI going to destroy that job? Right? And put them on a path. Give them a lot of different experiences So they're not pigeonholed just into one thing. Now, of course, you have some of those kids that are, the Tiger Woods, right? Dad has them golfing from a young age. You're a prodigy. Serena and Venus Williams, right? You have those kids that are on that pathway, right? Deion Sanders, his kids, right? You have those. There's always exceptions to the rule. But I say have those conversations with your youth, right? And find that balance where they're still youth. They're not stressed out. They're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But they do need to take high school seriously. And many kids that are successful and they don't have that failure to launch and they have those skills, those resources in place, that's happening in junior high. That's happening now, right? Whether it's honor society, volunteering, AP courses, extracurricular activities, working for their uncle or their auntie, working in the family business, gaining those skills, figuring out what they like, what they don't like. What are they good at? So as they start to make that transition, they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to the military. You know what? I'm gonna do this vocational thing. I'm gonna go to college. Man, I got this job that I've been working in my junior and senior year. I'm gonna stay on with them. I've got a couple classes that I'm gonna take, online, and I'm good to go. Get my certifications. I'm straight. Maybe I'm a social media person. I've been doing it since junior high, and I can monetize this thing, and I'm good. So many different things. We got 6 minutes, y'all. 6 minutes to the new year. I know you're excited because I am. Again, so thankful that you are joining the conduit to bring in the new year in a safe environment, right? For many of us, young or old, I know there are young people that are listening, and I know that there are old folks listening, and everyone in between. So shout out to you, salute. That Red Bull sip is for you. Thank you for being here. Again, don't worry about what other people think, right? You don't have to be out there in the club. Not saying it's bad, but again, not too much great stuff happens after midnight. That is a true story, right? And we had COVID, and we got inflation, and we got. We're behind already. So we have to be diligent and we have to work as we go into our countdown here. Business owners, if you're aspiring to be an entrepreneur, whether it's a for-profit, a nonprofit, understand you're going to work your ass off. And if you stop working, your business doesn't grow, right? Until you get it to a certain spot. You're only going to get out of it what you put into it. And I talk to a lot of folks. I counsel, I can't tell you how many people I've counseled this year that want to start their own business. They want to bring in the money. They want to be the boss. They want to have leisure. And when I hear people say that they want to start a business so they got free time and they can do some more extracurricular things, my boy, you are in for a rude awakening, especially when you're just starting out. Especially when you're just starting out. People have so many misconceived notions. You want to start a business? If there is something that is similar to what it is that you want to do, go volunteer at that place, right? Because they're giving you something. Go volunteer for them. Go be of service to them and learn what it takes to run a company, to provide that service, to provide that product that you want to provide. Ask questions, watch, do the extra things, see the long nights, the weekends that they put in to keep it going. When that call comes in because something went wrong, you can't put it in the hands of your employee. You have to deal with it. You're the owner. You're the boss. What you going to do? There's no one for you to pass it off to. There's no manager or owner. That's you. People Don't think about that. What happens if it gets low on funds and you can't draw or you have to put in to keep it going? Are you prepared for that? What's it going to take? Are you willing to be a starving student, if you will, for lack of a better word, for 3 to 5 years? Are you okay understanding that more than 40% of businesses fail in the first year? And on and on and on. That it's hard to break through and be successful. Do you realize that most businesses only have one employee? That's you. And you might have a bunch of revenue coming in, but that may not be profit. And you may not be taking an owner's draw off of that because you're trying to get it going. You have to invest back into it. Oh, you want to do a podcast, you're doing a show. You need to upgrade your cameras and your software and your audio and your microphones and the accessories, right? Are you investing back into it? Those are the things that I want you to consider. Man, we got 1 minute, y'all. We are almost here. The countdown is upon us. Woo-wee! We are almost here, y'all. Woo! Man, we need a countdown. We need a countdown. We need a countdown. Count it down with me, y'all. Count it down with me. It's almost New Year's because it's New Year's Eve. We're doing it together. Oh, yeah. Come on. 29 seconds left. 29 seconds, y'all. Let's go. We are almost there. I know you're excited. Are you excited with me? Because I am. Well, we don't want that. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year, y'all. Happy New Year. Woo! All right. Happy New Year. 2024, we made it. We made it. We made it. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. We made it. See, they might hit me with some copyright on there. Let's see. All right. Hopefully I don't get hit with a copyright. I don't own the rights to that. Hopefully that's enough. Just wanted to play some New Year's with folks. Bring y'all into the new year. Again, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Salute and toast to you. Oh, that coffee is delicious. We made it. It's 2024. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Mm-mm-mm. It's like a birthday. Do you feel different? No, you don't feel different? I want you to feel different. And I want you to feel different in this way. You have made a decision or decisions in your life. And you're like, you know what? I can, I will, I must, I trust. Mm. I can, I will, I must, I trust. Happy New Year there, Rob. I can, I will, I must, I trust. It's your motto. I can, I will, I must, I trust. Say it with me. I can, I will, I must, I trust. I trust you. I believe. I believe that you will. I know that you can. I want you to believe it. I believe in you. Cheers. Happy New Year. Salute. Mm, I believe in you. Believe in yourself and understand that sometimes that's easier said than done, but put people around you that can believe in you when your belief meter, when your fuel meter is down. There are people that are out there that can help propel you when you're just, man, my engine ain't there. I've got that. And I appreciate all of the staff of G2, all of my friends and family. I appreciate my acquaintances that have said nice things about me when not in my presence, that said nice things about me when they didn't have to. They could have just said, hey, do you know Marwan? Yeah, I do. Yeah, all right. But they added a little bit of flavor. They added a little bit of juice. This is why he's all right. This is why I F's with him. This is why he's cool. Those are the folks that you want in your life. The ones that are going to say good things about you when you're not there. Happy New Year there, Isaiah. Hope you are safe wherever you're at. Now, that is one of my partying brothers there. Now, he could get on the good foot. So I hope you are safe. The fact that you are on your phone and you see this podcast makes me feel like you are in a safe environment. And so I'm excited and I'm proud for you. I'm proud for you. I love to see my fellow brothers doing positive things, putting themselves in positions for success, changing the paradigm. We have all the power and all the control. The scary thing is, we have been too scared to take our power. I always say, power is taken, it is not given. Take your power. Take it. It's just been sitting there this whole time in your life. You've had this power and you've decided you didn't want to use it. Either you were afraid of it, you didn't recognize it, you don't want to use it for bad. Use it for good. I can, I will, I must, I trust. That's your motto for 2024. I can, I will, I must, I trust. Build. Build your crew. Put your crew around you. That trust piece can be hard. We know right from wrong from an early age. My 12-year-old knows right from wrong. When she was 7, she knew right from wrong. She knew when she was doing something sneaky. Right? We already have the power. We already have the ability. We just need the desire and the belief. And not being afraid to fail. You will not fail if you try You will either succeed or you will learn. You will not fail because you're not going to make excuses. You're going to be accountable. You're going to do your best. You're not going to make assumptions. Oh, that sounds like the four agreements. But it's so much more than that. You've already had so many wins in your life. You can't even remember all your wins. You can't even remember all the ways that you navigated out of some crazy situation that you were like, Lord, if you just get me out of this, I'll never do this or that again. And you got out of it. And whether it was God, whether it was you, whether it was luck, whether it was all three, you did it. So look back on those things. Were you calm in the face of adversity? Did you have the right words? Did they come to you at the right time? What was it that you did? What did you learn from that experience? How did you avoid it the next time you recognized it? Because those are wins that you don't even see, right? Oh, yeah, something happened to you once, and oh man, you fell hard and it hurt, but you learned from it. You recovered. And the next time you saw it, you were like, oh, yeah, not today, Satan. And you went the other way. That was a huge win because you could have tried to jump over or went through or told yourself, you know what? I'm strong enough. I ain't worried about it. Ain't nothing going to happen. I already know what happened before, so I can just go straight. I don't have to take the detour. And some people do that, right? Some folks, hard head makes a soft behind. Some folks are from the show me state. They from Missouri. Show me. They got to fall off the cliff. But I'm here to tell you, in 2024, you don't have to fall off the cliff. You get to do something different. I can, I will, I must, I trust. You get to do that. You will do that. There might be something big that's been hanging on you that you've been wanting to get rid of. There might be something big that you've been wanting to do. Start your business. Change your career. Learn an instrument. Take on another hobby. These are things that you can do. Don't be afraid. Fear is good, keeps us safe. But don't let it paralyze you from trying. Because you know what? You're probably going to be successful. Now, we do have a fear of success, and I understand that, right? Once we start making those gains and people are watching, it's like, oh man. See, the problem is if I start doing this and I start doing good, then people are going to see that I'm doing good. And then I got to keep doing it. And now I don't really want to keep doing it. Maybe I shouldn't if I just don't do it, then I ain't got to deal with that. Some people think like that. That goes through their minds, right? Some people have imposter syndrome. That fake it till you make it. I don't really belong here. I don't have the skills, the knowledge to be here. I really shouldn't be in these spaces. Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should. Be bold. Hey, you know what? I'm new. I don't know. I'm learning. Yeah, you should. Don't be afraid. Be bold. Take your power. Live in your power. No excuses. People say be accountable. What is accountability? Accountability works both ways. You have to be accountability for your actions and your deeds, but you also are accountable for your actions and your deeds. You get my meaning? So be accountable and go out and do it. Do it. Do it now. Do it today. Man, I sound like a commercial. For $29.99, you can change your life. Do it today. But you can. I can, I will, I must, I trust. Folks are celebrating. You might be watching the news in the background and watching folks in different places celebrating. I'm looking at a lot of glassy-eyed, drunk folks throwing up the W. And they're Husky fans. There's a whole bunch of middle-aged white dudes throwing up the W. West Side. That's funny. It looks like Mardi Gras, but they're downtown Seattle. Oh no, they are in New Orleans. Why are they throwing up the W? Why the Huskies down there? Oh, must be college football, y'all. I'm not a college football fan, so they must be some kind of bowl game for the Huskies. I take it. Somebody could tell me in the chat. That's why the Huskies are down there throwing up the W. All right, we got Washington State gang members down in New Orleans throwing up the Husky W. That's funny. That's funny. All right. So now what we're gonna do, it's 2024 now. We reflected on 2023. We're into 2024. Huskies are playing in the Sugar Bowl. Oh, put them in line if they win to play for the national championship. Really? That's weird. I didn't know. See, I don't watch college football, so I didn't know that you do bowl games and then you can still play for the championship. So it's now a playoff system for college football? Yeah, I'm just not into it. Even when we were doing concessions and working the games, I really pay attention to them. Husky games are pretty fun though. They're quite rowdy. All right. So being reflective. Again, I appreciate all of my staff and all the work that they've done. Yes, it's a playoff system for college football. The other team I'm looking for is Michigan, and they're in the same kind of position. So is it a win and they're in, or do they need help? They need other teams to lose in order for them to get to the national championship. And I guess that would be fitting since they're leaving the Pac-10, right? Or is it the Pac-12 now? I don't think they should break it up, honestly. I mean, there's some rivalries that, just should stand. I'm all for progressiveness, but I'm also for traditionalism. No, it's a Final Four team, so the two teams that win tomorrow will play next week for the national championship. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Well, go Huskies. That would be cool. That would be really cool. I guess there'll be a lot more purple if they win tomorrow. All right. Good luck to the Huskies. Or if they win today. Are they playing New Year's Day? They're playing today? Or are they playing on Tuesday? Man, I need to shave. In fact, I think I need to wax my face. I think it's time. All right. So 2024. Thank you to all the staff. I'm going to thank you in advance because I'll never tell you as much as you deserve to hear it. That I appreciate you. That G2 is a success because of you. Not in spite of you, because of you. Because of your heart, your willingness to pick up a client, take them to a methadone clinic, to pick up a client, take them to an isolation area so that they can recover from COVID, to pick up a client and take them to a medical detox facility, to pick up a client and take them to a severe weather shelter, to pick up a client and take them to a mental health appointment, to pick up a client and take them so that they can go to work and pay their bills, to pick up a client and take them to the airport, whether it's for a trip for leisure or for work or for someone passing away, to pick up a client, to take them to see their family in another county when they wouldn't be able to afford it otherwise, on a holiday, to pick up a client, to take them to their specialist appointments, whether it's inside or outside of the county, to pick up a client and make them feel cared for, to pick up a client and give them the professionalism that they need, the friendliness to pick up a client and share the resources and information that they wouldn't hear otherwise and miss out on the opportunity to pick up a client and get them to events, to get them to Olympia, to things that they've planned for organizations that they're a part of, to pick up a client and build community, to pick up a client. G2, it's what we do. And that is a major thing in 2023, and it will be increasing in 2024. And the majority of our staff drive and dispatch for us, although many wear multiple hats where they help out with the podcast or they help make meals and get porta potties on blocks and move people and do all these different things, providing case management to folks. They do so many things. And I'm so appreciative of you all. And I thank you again in advance. I know that it is not easy in any community, in any organization. Folks are going to argue. Folks are not always going to get along. Folks are not always going to see eye to eye. But if we understand the analogy of that locus of control and the ship and the crew, we are a crew, G2, and we all have to row in the same direction. We all have our different tasks. Someone is the captain at the wheel. Someone is at the sail. Someone is at the engine. Someone is at the port. Someone is at the stern. Someone is at the bow. We need you all playing your positions in order to serve not only each other, because we're all clients, but to serve the community at large. So I thank you in advance for your continued service. I thank the volunteers that are going to come to us in 2024. I thank the donors who have supported us not only in 2023, but who will donate to us in 2024. And we will ensure that there's new ways to do that, because we have been horrible at that. We are definitely an organization that is focused on doing the work. And unfortunately, we can get so focused on that, we do not focus on trying to promote ourselves. So what I want to do is, I don't have a drum roll, do I? I don't think that's good. I'm going to hit the horn. And I want to introduce you to the new website that will be launching here soon. Our new website is going to be gathertogrow.org. We are changing our website, y'all. Gathertogrow.org. So please update your emails, update your contact list, but the website is changing. We have had just a devilish time with GoDaddy. We don't recommend GoDaddy. And so we are moving away from our old website. Now, I'm only going to give you a quick little preview because I don't want to spend too much. I want you to see it when it's done. That's all you get. That's all you get. But I wanted you to see that. The new website is going to be launching later today. Okay? And I'll do an informational on that so you can see it. There's so many things that we do, and I know that I typically talk primarily about transportation and or avocation for the unhoused, for those that are unhoused. However, there is a lot that G2 does. Okay? And you can't see it here. I don't even think I can make it big enough here so that you can see our impact. Okay? Let me see if I can get it right there. But in 2023, we had $70,000 of concrete goods go out into the community. In 2023, we provided more than 10,000 rides. 10,000. We have driven more than 100,000 miles. You can see there all the different places that we have taken people. You can see that we have provided more than 4,500 meals to our community. You can see, because you're watching us on the conduit, some of the different events that we have done in 23 or before. Actually, all of this stuff listed there is in 2023. Again, the purpose of the conduit is to tie the community, teach, inform, elevate. We're tying the community together. And then our advocacy work. We are advocates for equality. We're advocates for family. We're advocates for food security. We're advocates for health care. We're advocates for housing. We're advocates for eradicating homelessness. We're advocates for men's rights. We're advocates for policy change, not only at the local level, but at Olympia level, at the state level. We're advocates for resources in all their forms, whether it be Section 8 or rental assistance or energy assistance, domestic violence assistance, sexual assault assistance, whatever it is. We're advocates for resources. We're advocates for services, connecting folks with service providers. We're advocates, of course, for transportation. So we do quite a bit of advocacy work that we don't really talk about. Why? Because we're in rooms doing presentations in Olympia, in airport conference rooms, all over, right? Folks are interviewing, being part of panels. When other folks are doing things like the community needs assessment, participating in that, helping spread the word, encouraging more participation so they can get a better snapshot of what the actual community needs are. And then going over those community needs. We're an advocate for grants and contracts and different opportunities that come available, especially for smaller organizations. So these are the things that G2 does that you don't hear about. You know, the case management, the referrals, the client help, that $70,000 that we've given out really is an underestimate. Because part of that is, again, we just sent our good brother to New Orleans with a few $100s. Because you can't travel with no money, right? So we do a lot of things. We wish we could do so many more things. But this is who G2 is. This is what we are. We will continue to do those things, continue to strive. Shout out to G2 Housing and Joe Walter and the rest of the crew. Shout out to the gentlemen as they form a new department under G2. I'll keep that under wraps until that is more solidified. Shout out to the tireless hours that the staff are going to give this year in 2024. And I wish I had pictures for all of them. But shout out to Rob. Shout out to Stephanie. Shout out to Monkey. Shout out to Ernest. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Tedula. Shout out to Erica, Mark, Terry. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to Rich. Shout out to Amanda. On and on we go. Thank you for the work that you are going to do in 2024. I'm going to ask you to stretch yourself. I believe it's going to be a hard year. And as the leader, I have to prepare the team to weather the storm. So I know that you guys can do it. I know you can do it when leadership isn't there and they go on vacation and it's not pretty. You got to get through and you made it. Every client served. I appreciate you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your impact, the impact that you're aware of directly and the impact that you have no idea that you have on that person that's in your back seat and how you make them feel by getting them to their destination, by being a human and interacting with them and giving them that space. We have folks that are at end of life, and some of the drivers are some of the closest people to them. G2 transportation is so much more than just a ride. It's a relationship. We're going to work this year on getting some quotes and some stories from our clients. And again, we are horrible at tooting our horn and talking about the impact outside of raw numbers, 100,000 miles, 10,000 rides, all these different places that we go, served all these clients, yada, yada, yada. We hyper focus on that. McDonald's, the billions and billions served, right? They don't say the impact, the making people happy. Kids love us. Birthday parties at McDonald's. We make memories for families. We don't think about that part. Oh, it's just a ride. That ride to a medical detox. That catalyst to changing a person's life, changing their trajectory, not giving them hope. I'm not really interested in peddling hope. I don't want you to feel hopeful. I mean, I want you to feel hopeful, but I want you to have the action, the verb of doing the hope thing. I don't want you to feel hope. I want you to do hope. Does that make sense? I don't want you to feel it. I want you to do it. Faith without work is dead. I gave my testimony in church yesterday, right? It's my favorite Bible verse, right? And what that means. Again, that's that locus of control, right? That's that locus of control. The faith in the process, the faith in yourself. I can, I will, I must, I trust. I can, I will, I must, I trust. Faith without work is dead. I have faith because I do. I have faith because I try. The verb, the action word, I do hope. I don't think hope. I don't feel hope. I do it. I want you to do hope in 2024. We're hope providers. We're building for the future, y'all. We have a lot of needs. We need to expand our fleet. We need at least 4 more wheelchair vans. 4 more. I did my 4 over here. It was off camera. We need 4 wheelchair vans. Our business is exploding. And again, we have an aging population of wheelchair users or individuals that need a ramp in order to ambulate in and out of vehicles. We have a huge aging population here in Kitsap County. We have a huge population of folks that suffer from a myriad of different ailments. We want to increase our fleet with 3 more 16-passenger vans. We are already providers for other organizations when they have events. Shout out to Kitsap Black Student Union, one of our absolute favorite nonprofits here in Kitsap County, doing the most from coast to coast. But they're going to grow, and other organizations are going to grow. G2 has been hired to do conference to hotel runs in Seattle. So you can imagine ferrying 100 plus people back and forth to hotels, right? We have capacity to do those things. But we do need to increase our fleet so that we can do more, so that we can provide services to those that really need those services. If you are listening or you know of many smaller organizations whose leadership are not only planning the activities, they're purchasing the activities, they're going around and picking up the individuals to participate in the activities, they're putting the activities on, taking everyone home, and they're up, continuing and planning for the next one. There are quite a few people, champions, true heroes in this community that work tirelessly to build the community, either through the youth or young adults or whatever segment of population that is important to them, that's part of their mission. But transportation remains a huge obstacle. And when you're having to do that on top of everything else, it's tremendously difficult. And if you think about it, man, you know what? If they had a budget where they didn't have to worry about hiring transportation, chartering transportation, if they had a budget where they didn't have to worry about, man, I got to go and pick this person up because the population I serve maybe be latchkey children or youth or adults that don't have a vehicle, only have one vehicle, rely on public transportation, but can't get to the event because it's in the evening, it's on a weekend. We are in the business of doing hope, not feeling hope. If we're going to change things, people have to be able to actually participate in it. Now, we can get into a deeper discussion on priorities and how sometimes adults will prioritize getting kids to sports and fun things, but stuff that's really going to enrich them and build them as human beings and prepare them for adulthood and the things that they're going to face. Those things aren't quite priority. That's another story, but it's there. And unfortunately, it's a reality. And so while we don't like it, we have to address it and try to overcome it. We don't have to like it, but it's a problem that we have to solve for. And we believe G2 transportation is the answer. Because when you remove that piece of it, then the youth and people that don't have transportation can participate. The folks that plan and execute programs well above what a team of people can do. There's so many small organizations that punch above their belt. Shout out to Deborah. Shout out to Akuye. There's folks out here that do magic and have been doing magic either recently or for decades. We'll acknowledge them during Black History, and we'll acknowledge them. We were going to do a show on heroes. I can't get into the weeds of the new shows. There's so many things I want to talk about. I got to keep the lid on it. The Conduit is going to be doing some new shows. We are going to piss some people off this year. Again, to tie the community, we have to be real. We have to talk about the things that have been in the closet, the things that have been suppressed, the things that have caused folks to be canceled. We're doing that this year. We're going to talk about some things that are probably going to cause some folks to unfriend me. Some people may have already done that based on recent posts. And that is okay. Because that is what advocacy is. It's standing up and taking the arrows and the bullets and the adversity in spite of. Because so many people are destroyed for having the audacity to speak on it, to say, this is how I feel, this is how I think. Here is some evidence contrary to what you've been saying or what they have been saying. When we say things like systemic racism, we're talking about a system. But toxic and bad things like systemic racism are not the only things that are systematic. Ponder that. And why is it that the only thing that gets the label of systemic is racism? We're going to get into that because there's so many other systems that are in place that are destroying groups of people, communities, cultures, traditions that we have to tie, we have to teach, we have to inform, and we have to elevate. The Conduit will be doing that this year. The Conduit will continue to do what it does. Oh yeah, we'll be at the Kitsap Regional Library coming up here on the 12th when they officially rename, well, it's already named that, but acknowledge that the downtown library is the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library. We will be at Fairgrounds for Ebenezer's annual, and this is the 30th annual Martin Luther King Day celebration. We will be recording and broadcasting that event as we did last year. I shared, I was getting Amanda up to speed on what it was like last year. And I sent an email to Ebenezer. And we had about 79 views, I believe, on the Conduit's broadcast last year for Martin Luther King Day event for Fairgrounds. And we looked at the last 3 years of BCAT, and they had 20-something views, respectively, for each one, each year. And so we were able to have viewership that exceeded the 3 previous years. So people are accessing the Conduit from all manners and spheres to get information. Shout out to Martita May. Hey. She did a show at the end of the year with Chief Wolf and Kitsap Mental Health. I can't remember all the names, but Chief Wolf, and shout out to the other, the detective and the counselor from Kitsap Mental Health. And the last half was all in Spanish. Stay tuned for more of that in 2024 as we expand out and cover even more events. Tie the community. That's what we're here for. We're built for it. And what people believe is what I was saying earlier about children and finances. We don't like to talk about finances and sex. What are the other things that we don't even talk about? Religion, right? There's a few things that you don't talk about with other people. There's a few things that you don't talk about in family households because they tend to tear families up. But the conversations that tear families up that folks are avoiding to have, if they had those conversations, they would probably bring the community closer together. Quickly, if you had a conversation about sex with your partner, your sex would probably improve. They're not a mind reader. So if you've been faking it, and that goes on both sides because men fake it a lot, might be surprised about that. If you have just said, well, I don't want to emasculate them, or I don't want them to feel bad because they're not really doing this how I like it or whatever, so I just let it go. Have that conversation. Why would you not have a conversation? Hey, if you just do this, that would be awesome. That's all you got to do. Just a little bit more here, a little bit less there. Do this, do that. Have the conversation. Create the space for the conversation in a non-emasculating or demeaning way. Because you're going to get the reward from it, right? And they're probably going to get the reward from it too. That's a big one. Finances. Have that conversation. Talk about it. The other one is you take any community. Ireland, there's conflict with the people. Countries in Africa, Australia. There are folks that have issues with each other. No group has a monopoly on that. Black on black crime, white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, Asian on Asian crime. It's crime of proximity. You don't typically drive to a predominantly other neighborhood to commit a crime. You're going to do it in the space and the community you're in. So we need to talk about the ills within our own community. We have to get past the, oh, we can't talk about it. We have something in the Black community where we say, oh, you showing out for massa. They say things like that. We say things like that. You don't talk about these topics, or you don't talk like this in front of them folk or in front of anyone. The problem is we don't talk about it in front of ourselves. We're not real about it. We're not honest about it. We don't want to make waves. We don't want to correct people. We don't want to hold people accountable. We don't want to punish bad behavior. We just want to Rodney King it. Can't we all just get along? No, we cannot. And no society has. No group has. You can look in any community and you will see conflict in every community. Our community is not unique. So no, it's not kumbaya. No, we're not all going to get along. No, we're not going to sweep it under the rug. Not anymore. It's coming out. We're going to talk about what's holding the community back. We're going to talk about chameleons. We're going to talk about grifters. We're going to talk about how people, in one hand, are doing good things, but in the other hand, they're perpetuating a culture that's destroying us. And I'm specifically talking about gangs and drugs, thought life, things that have destroyed our community, things that we blame on racism and systems that have what? We are in the age of knowledge. So if we know about it, why do we continue to do it? And to say we'll change when they stop is BS. We're going to teach, we're going to inform, we're going to elevate. We're going to talk about it in front of them folks. We're going to talk about it in front of everybody. And we're going to hold people accountable. We're going to call it out. Because your little program ain't helping when you're doing all this dirt on the back end. You're destroying the community. You are perpetuating the most toxic parts of quote unquote Black culture. And the elders, they let it go. The organizations perpetuate it. They support it. They encourage it. They fund it. And they know that there are gang ties and drug ties. And yet, that's what they're willing to put their dollars behind. Why? That's what we're going to talk about. But it keeps us stuck. We're on a decline. We're not on an incline. The scales do not balance, not in our favor. So we're going to talk about it. And we're going to hold these organizations accountable, the big ones, the ones that have been championing and pushing forward certain groups and organizations to the detriment of the community, thinking they're in support of the community, the ones that say one thing and do another. They tell folks, oh, I was talking about this on Facebook. You go, you strong, you independent. And they go home to their husbands or partners, whatever they call them. We're going to talk about not only just the conflict within the group, but conflict within the partnerships, other groups. We're not supposed to talk about how they're hurting or affecting another group. Oh, we're going to get into that. For too long, it's been, we all have to work together. We all have to get along. We have to put aside our differences and just let it go. There's a bigger picture. And there is a bigger picture. They are right in that. The problem is if you build a cake with poison in it, it's going to kill the community who eats it. So you must first eradicate the poison before you make the cake. Because you think that you're building something that is going to nourish the community, but instead it's continuing to poison and kill the community. So we're going to talk about that. We can get into the systems, but like I said, there's so many different systems. Conduit is going there. We're going to talk about and do what we normally do. When grants come through and I get a chance, I'll go over those. I will show folks how I would answer those grants. Just got done helping a few organizations answer questions on some grants. But we are looking forward to 2024. We're going to be bold. We're going to be courageous. I can, I will, I must, I trust. We can, we will, we must, we trust. I thank you all in advance for tuning in and watching Elevating the Show. Ask you to subscribe, like, share. Definitely share it. The more you share, the more people watch. The more access people get, the more knowledge folks get. The things that were down, deep, hidden, forbidden, those are the things that we need to talk about. Those are the things that are holding us back. If we get to the end of the road and we still have those things, a lot of people know the story of Moses and how the people lost their way and they were forced to wander for 40 years because they weren't worthy to make it to the promised land. We are on a journey. Things are getting harder. As you've heard me say before in closing, we have housing, prices that are out of control, unaffordable. We have wages that have not kept up with inflation. We have AI. And so many things can be done. There are things that I've done in the last 2 days using AI that would have taken 5 people and a couple weeks to get done. These things are being done in seconds. So we have hidden unemployment issues. Understand that when Republicans and or Democrats, either side, report employment numbers, they don't report those that just fell off and just are no longer looking for work. We have a huge contingency of unemployed people in this country. And as AI eradicates jobs exponentially, I think they said 40% here in a few years, automation, outsourcing, innovation. There are so many things that are destroying job opportunities. Automatic checkers, right? You see it everywhere. Hey, you're checking out your own groceries. So what are people going to do? And I submit to you that $2,000 a month in UBI isn't going to be enough for people to survive. And again, where is that money going to come from? And again, if we do that, what about Social Security? So we have to talk about these things. So many of us are dying homeless. We're dying in pain. We're living with not having our healthcare needs met. Folks are suffering, just existing. We have middle-aged people that have no plan, no direction, and no action of hope. No action of hope. We have a serious drug problem. We have an immigration problem. We have a misuse of funds problem. We have a priority problem. But we don't recognize it until it affects us directly. And sometimes we still don't know what's happening to us or why. We have to have those conversations. In order to change it, you have to first know what it is that you're fighting. And no one is talking about it. Or the things that they are talking about, the things that they are championing, while they may be important, isn't helping the tangible things for basic survival and being the richest nation in the history of mankind. Should any of our citizens merely be surviving? I submit no. I submit no. So I can, I will, I must, I trust. We've delved into a year filled with challenges, triumphs, and personal growth. For me, I've learned that I need to help or rely on help. I It is so difficult to ask for help when you're a provider of help. I don't want to ask for help. I want people to see who are around me, and if you care about me, then you would see what I need. That's like the typical downfall of relationships, right? A closed mouth don't get fed. It's something that I have to work on, something that I do work on. But I am very blessed. A lot of people do anticipate my needs and support me and tell me I should do not this thing, that I should say no sometimes. And very rarely I do say no. It is difficult. But I appreciate the love and the caring that folks have extended to me. Uh, it really truly means a lot. I was having a conversation earlier about being adopted and being in foster care and going back into foster care, and the impact of, being in elementary school and being asked to do your family tree and saying, I don't know my family tree, right? Even my adopted father, I didn't really know the family tree very well outside of, grandma, grandpa, and grandma Audrey, Uncle Bob, a few others, cousin Maddie Louise. Shout out to all of them. And so that was always embarrassing. And so, unfortunately with Layla, it's the same thing, right? On mama's side, oh, they can trace it back. There's a huge, rich history. But on my side, I don't know what to tell you, sweetie. It's me. And, it's my adoptive father that I see as my father. But that that's it. Auntie, you know. So it stops there. And so I am eternally grateful for those that are in my life that fill that space of family. The name gather together, grow together means that it ain't always going to be pretty. Growing means pain. Growing is progress. But those growth spurts, they hurt. It's tough, right? And it's tough physically, and it's tough metaphorically, and it's tough business wise. Sometimes we are offered business and we've got to find capacity, right? That's a growing pain. You're growing. But we gather together and we grow together. And we understand that it's tough, right? It's tough. But that is family. That is family, right? And so many folks have family that they've had to cut off. 100%, because that family is toxic and really bad for them. And so sometimes, many times, family is who you make it. That crew that I've been talking about, that crew that gathers together and grows together to row, to ensure that the boat is going in the direction that you set out, that destination that you are working to achieve. And as everyone rows, people have different objectives. I'm going to school. I'm going to work. I'm trying to work on my professional development. I'm working on my personal development. I'm trying to maintain. I'm taking it one day at a time. And every day that I make the right choice, I've won. I've won even more than the person that gets lucky in a casino. I've won because today I made the right choice. And yesterday I made the right choice. And tomorrow I'm going to work my ass off to make the right choice. I can, I will, I must, I trust. And as I gain momentum, chicka, 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 and my strength grows and my self-esteem grows, who I am grows. And I say, I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not saying that I don't take counsel from people that I trust that have my best interest for. But people in the peanut gallery and the naysayers, the drama keepers, the bone carriers, those that would see you fail, those that thrive off of your drama and your strife, you don't care about them. You're doing your one day at a time. And you know that that victory is just as large as what they see and what they value as their big victory. Man, once a person achieves that level of enlightenment, life changes for them. I promise you that. If you get to the point where you truly are like, you know what? Again, you don't pay my rent. You don't help me with my family. You don't have my best interests at heart. What you think about how I dress, what I do, how I'm living matters not. It's a powerful, powerful place to get to. It truly is. So I said I was ending this. It's 1:00. You know, I can Rob said loquacious. He loves that word because I love that word, right? And I was gonna end it a little sooner, but man, there's just so much to say. We going against the grain, y'all. I think I might name a show that going against the grain. All right. So it's 2024. I care about you. I appreciate you. I think about you. I will be serving you this year. I thank you in advance. Be safe out there. As always, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I am Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. Happy New Year. Happy 2024, y'all.